Mm. Well, I want to welcome everyone to First Sundays with Black Poet Laureates. This is the first Sunday in 2025, and we are going to be doing a tribute to Nikki Giovanni, who has transitioned as of December 9th, 2024. She was an amazing poet and an inspiration to so many of us. We have poets that are on the call right now that are going to share their personal favorites and different Nikki poems, but we also have some poets who weren't able to be here with us today that wanted to share just because of their love for Mama Nikki. So, with that being said, I want to share a video with everyone. Hope you all enjoy this.
Militant dreams of taking over America to show these white folks how it should be done. I used to dream radical dreams of blowing everyone away with my perceptive powers of correct analysis. I even used to think I'd be the one to stop the riot and negotiate the peace. Then I awoke and if I dreamed natural dreams of being a natural woman, doing what a woman does when she is natural, I would have a revolution.
Hi, my name is Melissa Ferris Seville. I am the first poet laureate of Kansas City, Missouri. I was appointed in February 2024, and I'll be poet laureate till December 2026. The Nikki Giovanni poem that I'll be reading today is That Day. If you've got the key, then I've got the door. Let's do what we did when we did it before. If you've got the time, I've got the way. Let's do what we did when we did it all day. You get the glass, I've got the wine. We'll do what we did when we did it over time. If you've got the dough, then I've got the heat. We'll use my oven till it's warm and sweet. I know I'm bold coming on like this, but the good things in life are too good to be missed. Now time is money and money is sweet. If you're busy, baby, we can do it on our feet. We can do it on the floor. We can do it on the stair. We can do it on the couch. We can do it in the air. We can do it up in the grass. And in case we get an itch, I can scratch it with my left hand because I'm really quite a witch. If we do it once a month, we can do it in time. If we do it once a week, we can do it in rhyme. If we do it every day, we can do it every way. We can do it like we did it when we did it that day.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is LaRon McAdoo. I am the 2025 Poet Laureate of Little Rock, Arkansas. And the piece that I'll do today is called A Short Bio of Nikki Giovanni. Okay. A long time ago, a little girl sat in the window of the bedroom she shared with her older sister and read by finger flashlight. She looked at the stars when the batteries gave way, and when she got older, she snuggled under her grandmother's quilts to listen all night to jazz on the radio, or at least until she fell asleep. She fell in love with words. Then they somehow seemed to fall in love with her. She got to learn history, meet people, travel everywhere. And since this is a good fairy tale, she lived happily ever after. There may be other things along the way, but the words and the stars and the music are all that matter. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Avery R. Young. I am the first and current Poet Laureate of Chicago, Illinois. It is my pleasure to join other Black laureates in this tribute to Mama Nikki Giovanni. I have so many wonderful stories about Mama Nikki Giovanni. The one that stands out for me the most is the Pegasus Awards. She, and I want to say 10 other poets were given this award all at one time during the 110th anniversary, and myself and the Deacon Board performed a medley of Gil Scott Heron poems and just answer to poems where the hatred is. And the bottom, because for Chi-Town, house music all night long. There's a memory that I'll never forget. We all indebted to her contribution to the culture, to literature, and to just the raising ability to be Black and a poet at the same time inside of America. And because of that, I have chosen this piece, Black History Month. If Black History Month, if Black History Month is not viable, if Black History Month is not viable, then the wind does not carry the seeds. If Black History Month is not viable, then the wind does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. If Black History Month is not viable, then wind does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land. If Black History Month is not viable, then wind does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. If Black History Month is not viable, then rain does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. Sun does not warm the earth. If Black History Month is not viable, then rain does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. Sun does not warm the earth and kiss the seedlings and tell them plain. If Black History Month is not viable, then the wind does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. Sun does not warm the earth and kiss the seedlings and tell them plain. You're as good as anybody else. You've got a place here too. Ashe.
The 100 years falls into the center, giving divine, perfect life. I am bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pain created the Nile. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert. With a packet of goat's meat and a change of clothes, I crossed it in 2 hours. I'm a gazelle.
All right. So, welcome again to First Sundays with Black Poet Laureates. I really appreciate everybody who was here. I love all of the comments that are pouring in on our YouTube channel. Please continue to tell us how you feel, share your love and your stories. Tell us where you're coming from. I see I've got somebody from Winston-Salem in here. We've got the amazing Dasha Kelly in here, Liberated Muse, welcome, and something by Sophia. Our first reader today is one of the first Black Poet Laureates that I had the pleasure of meeting, and she always puts a smile on my face. So everybody, please welcome Miss Kim B. Miller.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here. My name is Kim B. Miller, and I am Prince William County, Manassas, and Manassas Park, Virginia, Poet Laureate Emerita. I am the first and only Black Poet Laureate for that region. So when I was trying to pick a poem, because, this is how poets do stuff, I had to pick Ego Tripping because I love hyperboles. And for those you who don't know what hyperbole is an exaggeration not meant to be true. And this poem is so well written and I love her words. So Ego Tripping. I was born in the Congo. I walked to the Fertile Crescent and built the Sphinx. I designed a pyramid so tough that a star only grows every 100 years, falls at the center, giving divine, perfect light. I am bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pains created the Nile. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert with a packet of goat's meat and a change of clothes. I crossed it in 2 hours. I'm a gazelle, so swift you can't catch me. For a birthday present, when he was 3, I gave my son Hannibal an elephant. He gave me Rome for Mother's Day. My strength flows ever on. My son Noah built New Ark, and I stood proudly at the helm as we sailed on a soft summer day. I turned myself into myself and was Jesus meant atone my loving name. All praises, all praises. I'm the one who would save. I sold diamonds in my backyard. My bowels delivered uranium. The fillings in my fingernails are semi-precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blew my nose giving oil to the Arab world. I am so hip, even my errors are correct. I sailed the west to reach the east and had to round off the earth as I went. My hair from my head thinned and gold was laid across 3 continents. I am so perfect, so divine, so atrial, so surreal, I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. I would like to introduce the next poet. Please welcome Asia May. Unmute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone who's here this evening. I hate that we are gathering like this, but it is so beautiful when we come together to give our flowers. Um, in that, well, first of all, I'm Asia May. I'm the second poet laureate, current standing poet laureate of Charleston, South Carolina. And when choosing my poem today, it was really easy. I knew I wrote A Good Omelet because it was one of the first Nikki poems that I read that felt like it gave me permission to be a lover girl. Like it gave me permission to write about love in the cutesy, the soft, the giggly ways that I wanted to. And I've always been internally grateful for that. I've always uh, swung my feet a little bit when I hear somebody else performed it. Um, so I'd like to perform that all for you today. This is I Wrote a Good Omelet. I wrote a good omelet and ate a hot poem after loving you. Buttoned my car, drove my coat home in the rain after loving you. My gold on red and stopped on green, floating somewhere in between being here and being there after loving you. I rolled my bed, turned my hair, slightly confused, but I don't care. Laid out my teeth and gargled my gown. Then I stood and laid me down to sleep after loving you. Mm. That was I Wrote a Good Omelet by Nikki Giovanni. Thank you. I am so honored to introduce our next poet laureate, uh, a one Khadijah Z. Ali Coleman. It's so good to see you.
Oh, it's so great to see you, sister. And thank you for reading that beautiful poem. That's one of my favorites. Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Khadijah Ali Coleman. I am the poet laureate, the second poet laureate of Prince George's County, Maryland. Oh, I'm in here causing catastrophes. I'm so pleased to be here. I'm recovering from the flu, but I just had to be here. Nikki Giovanni was the first poet ever that my parents brought me. Spin a soft black song that she was the first poet I ever read. And so I'm reading her poem called Poetry. Poetry is motion graceful as a fawn, gentle as teardrop, strong like the eye finding peace in a crowded room. We poets tend to think our words are golden, though emotion speaks too loudly to be defined by silence. Sometimes after midnight or just before the dawn, we sit typewriter in hand, pulling loneliness around us, forgetting our lovers, our children who are sleeping, ignoring the weary weariness of our own logic to compose a poem. No one understands it. It never says love me, for poets are beyond love. It never says accept me, for poems seek not acceptance, but controversy. It only says I am, and therefore I concede that you are too. A poem is pure energy, horizontally contained between the mind of the poet and the ear of the reader. If it does not sing, discard the ear. For poetry is song. If it does not delight, discard the heart, for poetry is joy. If it does not inform, then close off the brain, for it is dead. If it cannot heed the insistent message that life is precious, which is all we poets, wrapped in our loneliness, are trying to say. Thank you. And so coming up next, I'm going to introduce Poet Laureate Terry E. Carter.
Actually, we actually had to change the order. So next up is going to be Joseph Woods.
And there you go. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Khadijah. Joseph,
Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay. I was
are
wondering if y'all
you
can hear
here?
me. I am. Can you hear me now?
Yes, will you please turn on your video so that the world can see you?
Let's turn on some lights. Yes. All right. So the poem I'll be reading, let me if I can get it to show camera. Okay, there we go. Fun times. All right. So the poem, can you see me now? Hello?
We cannot.
Okay. Can we come back around to me, please, so I can get this together?
Absolutely. Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
next up is going to be the president of our wonderful National Black Poet Laureate Society, Mr. Henry L. Jones. Henry, are you here?
He was
Oh,
here. It looks like he may have dropped off.
uh-oh. Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep on moving. Oh, there he is. He just dropped back in. All right. Oh, there is Mr. Woods. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and let you go, Mr. Woods. Have at it. Share your Nikki point.
All right. All right. Can we still see me? Okay. Good. 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 Hello, everybody. We're looking at reading Black History Month by Nikki Giovanni. Let's see here. I had it pulled up. Sorry. All right. If Black History Month is not viable, then wind does not carry the seed and drop them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. Sun does not warm the earth and kiss the seedlings and tell them plain, you are as good as anybody else. You've got a place here too. And that's that piece.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have now, he is here with us, the president of the National Black Poet Laureate Society, the one and only Mr. Henry L. Jones.
It says you have stopped my video. I'm trying to start my video.
We got you. There you are, sir.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello. Yeah, this was a phenomenal idea, and now we're just gonna do what we got to do. I had a little technical issue here. I seem to have worked that out. So, let me grab this right quick. I didn't think I'd be up this front. Okay. The poem I'm reading tonight is titled Laws of Motion. And I love that title. It was a poem I'd never heard of, Nikki. And science background, so I said, let me check this out. And I was actually preparing for another event, and then we got the idea. I said, oh, I know exactly which one I'm going to read. And here you go. The Laws of Motion for Harlem Magic. Channel me some Nikki here. The laws of science teach us a pound of gold weighs as much as a pound of flour, though if dropped any undetermined height in their natural state, one would reach bottom and one would fly away. Laws of motion tell us an inert object is more difficult to propel than an object heading in the wrong direction is to turn around. Motion being energy, inertia, apathy equals hostility, violence being energy in its own virtue. Laws of motion teach us Black people are no less confused because of our Blackness than we are diffused because of our powerlessness. Man, we are told, is the only animal who smiles with his lips. The eyes, however, are the mirror of the soul. The problem with love is not what we feel, but what we wish we felt when we began to feel. We should feel something. Just as publicity is not production, seduction is not seductive. If I could make a wish, I'd wish for all the knowledge of all the world. Black may be beautiful, Professor Michaud says, but knowledge is power. Any desirable object is bought and sold. Any neglected object declines in value. It is against man's nature to be in either category. If white defines black and good defines evil, then men define women, or women, scientifically speaking, describe men. If sweet is the opposite of sour, and heat is the absence of cold, then love is the contradiction of pain, and beauty is in the eye of the beheld. Sometimes I want to touch you and be touched in return. But you think I'm grabbing and I think you're shirking, and mama always said to look out for men like you. So I go to the streets with my lips painted red and my eyes carefully shielded to seduce the world with reluctant lover, the world my reluctant lover. And you go to your man slapping fives, feeling good, posing as a man because you know as long as you sit very, very still, the laws of motion will be in effect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. I would like to take a moment to introduce our next reader. It's going to be Miss Lydia K. Valentine.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. This group has given me so much support and wonder and exuberance and connection in a way that we have with our pieces when we're writing, but it is such a solitary endeavor that you can feel very alone. And when I became the poet laureate, I was poet laureate of Tacoma, Washington, from 2021 to 2023. And I was welcomed into a very large group of people. Not the first Black poet laureate here. Happy to say that there have been several of us, including the current poet laureate Christian Page. But finding this group and coming together and doing our anthology, the first anthology, was just a wonder. I love Nikki Giovanni. She was one of the first poets that I saw speak live. I was lucky enough to have a writing workshop with her when I was in high school and be taken to see her live also while I was in high school. A few years ago, on my birthday, I was able to see Mama Nikki perform. And when she was writing me a note in the book, she gave me a wonderful birthday wish, and I will always treasure that. The poem that I am reading today, there were lots of great choices, including Laws of Motion that I was looking at to read, and also a poem that I had hoped to have as part of my senior signature when I graduated high school, but my mom refused to allow me to have it. And to give you a sense of why, it starts out, "When I die, I hope that no one who ever hurts me cries, and if they do, they go on to turn into maggots." So my mom thought that was a little too negative, and for this event, I think it is as well. So in the hopeful joy that Mama Nikki gave us, this is the poem Biography. There is a bat in Chile named Microniterus giovanniae. Dr. Robert Baker named it after me. He discovered it while studying bats and thought the big ears were just like me. Maybe if the bat wrote, she would be a poet. There's a plaque in Lincoln Heights, where I went to school, and a plaque in Knoxville, across the street, where my grandparents lived. I'm also lucky to have awards and daydreams, or is that daydreams and awards? And I'm lucky to be happy at what I do and how I do it. So that is this bio. I'm here, and if I missed on emotional soil, a weed will grow. Make me rain. Let me be a part of this needed change. Thank you. Coming up next, we have the poet, and I'm happy to introduce Amanda Johnston.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Thank you all so much for this incredible opportunity to be in community and fellowship with other Black poets laureate from across the country, especially when we are still mourning and celebrating our beloved Nikki Giovanni. I had the great pleasure to be in conversation with her just last June, a few weeks after her 81st birthday. We were in conversation here in Texas at the African American Book Festival in Austin. And we talked about everything. And that was one of the things that I love so much about Nikki, is that when we say we contain multitudes, she truly, truly did, and would not hesitate to talk about anything from gardening to grandchildren to politics and going to Mars. And we sat with all of that. And as she would say, she recommended. So many of the things that she would recommend and continue to recommend for all of us is love and intimacy and being close with one another. So I absolutely love this poem that I'm going to read. And I am the current Texas Poet Laureate, the first Black woman to hold the title of Texas Poet Laureate. And this has always been one of my favorite poems by Nikki Giovanni, because while we deal with so many responsibilities, right, so many issues and agendas and chaos in the world, we still must have time for intimacy, closeness. And this poem by Nikki Giovanni is titled Seduction. One day, you're gonna walk in this house and I'm gonna have on a long African gown. You'll sit down and say, "The Black," and I'm gonna take one arm out. Then you, not noticing me at all, will say, "What about this, brother?" And I'm going to be slipping it over my head. And you'll rap on about the revolution while I rest your hand against my stomach. You'll go on, as you always do, saying, "I just can't dig," while I'm moving your hand up and down, and I'll be taking your dashiki off. Then you'll say, "What we really need," and I'll be licking your arm. And the way I see it, we ought to, and unbuckling your pants. And what about the situation? And taking your shorts off. Then you'll notice your state of undress. And knowing you, you'll just say, "Nikki, isn't this counter-revolutionary?" Seduction by Nikki Giovanni. Praise, sister, mother, ancestor, Nikki Giovanni, on your way to Mars. Thank you for the gifts and blessings that you have given all of us. I'd like to introduce the next poet, Samuel Rain.
Unable to show my video.
One moment, darling.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Samuel Rain Benjamin, Kern County Poet Laureate in California. And I have a short story about Nikki Giovanni. I was asked at one workshop, who was my favorite poet? And I said, Nikki Giovanni. And they said, why? I said, because she reads her poetry and that's all I really want to do. So I'm gonna get right into this. You talk about rape. They talk about rape. They must be kidding. Ever since the Europeans joined the African slave trade, I've been raped. I've conceived for and against my will, and I've delivered. You must remember, Lincoln didn't stop the slave trade because it was wrong, but because there were enough slaves. I've delivered, I've named, I've loved. If anyone should go into space, it's me, where space life will treat me like Earth life, but I will deliver. I will name, I will love. My pain will become a song. My hopes will live despite the trumpeting sounds of white supremacy. Give me leftovers and I will create a cuisine. Give me scraps and I will create a quilt. Give me life and I will give us all the moon and stars. You talk about rape. I talk about possibilities. I'm not the one afraid of you. I am Samuel Rain Benjamin, aka Darkman Blues. The next poet up is Rhea Carmen. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. First, this has been an amazing, amazing night with some poet laureates that I'm getting to meet for the first time and others that have been with this group since the beginning. I am the director of the National Black Poet Laureate Society, and let's see, I started reading Nikki Giovanni as a very, very young child. She was one of the first poets that I read, and she's part of the reason why I decided to be a poet. As a young spoken word artist and slam poet, I was invited to open for her in 1999 at the University of Tennessee. So Nikki actually spent her summers in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is where I was poet laureate. And she graduated from Austin East High School, which is where I started my teaching career. And so I've had several opportunities to just sit and talk with her, to speak with her, and to perform with and for her. So um, she did this poem at NASA. And I am an engineer and a mathematician at heart. So this has always been one of the favorite poems that I've ever heard her read. It's called Quilting the Black-Eyed Pea. We're going to Mars. We're going to Mars for the same reason Marco Polo rocketed to China. For the same reason Columbus trimmed his sails on a dream of spices, for the very same reason Shackleton was enchanted with penguins, for the reason we fall in love. It's the only adventure. We're going to Mars because Peary couldn't go to the North Pole without Matthew Henson, because Chicago couldn't be a city without Jean-Baptiste Dussable, because George Washington Carver and his peanut were the right partners for Booker T. It's the life-seeking thing. We're going to Mars because whatever is wrong with us will not get right with us, so we journey forth, carrying the same baggage, but every now and then leaving one little bitty thing behind. Maybe drop torturing hunchbacks here, maybe drop lynching Billy Budd there, maybe not whipping Uncle Tom to death, maybe resisting global war. One day, looking for prejudice to slip, one day looking for hatred to tumble by the wayside. One day, maybe the whole community will no longer be vested in who sleeps with whom. Maybe one day the Jewish community will be at rest. The Christian community will be content. The Muslim community will be at peace. And all the rest of us will get great meals at holidays and learn new songs and sing in harmony. We're going to Mars because it gives us a reason to change. If Mars came here, it would be ugly. Nations would band together to hunt down and kill Martians. And being the stupid, undeserving life forms that we are, we would also hunt down and kill what would be called Martian sympathizers, as if the fugitive slave law wasn't bad enough then, as if the so-called war on terrorism isn't pitiful now. When do we learn? And what does it take to teach us things cannot be what we want, when we want, as we want? Other people have ideas and inputs, and why won't they leave Rap Brown alone? The future is ours to take. We're going to Mars because we have the hardware to do it. We have rockets and fuel and money and stuff, and the only reason NASA is holding back is they don't know if what they send out will be what they get back. So let me slow this down. Mars is 1 year of travel to get there, plus 1 year of living on Mars, plus 1 year to return to Earth, equals 3 years of Earthlings being in tight space, going to an unknown place with an unsure welcome awaiting them. Tired muscles, unknown and unusual foods, harsh conditions, and no known landmarks to keep them human, only a hope and a prayer that they will be shadowed beneath a benign hand, and there is no historical precedent for that except this. The trip to Mars can only be understood through Black Americans. I say the trip to Mars can only be understood through Black Americans. The people who were captured and enslaved immediately recognized the men who chained and whipped them and herded them into ships so tightly packed there was no room to turn, no privacy to respect, no tears to fall without landing on another, were not kind and gentle and concerned for the state of their souls. No, the men with whips and chains were understood to be killers, feared to be cannibals, known to be sexual predators. The captured knew they were in trouble in an unknown place without communicable abilities with a violent and capricious species, but they could look out and still see signs of home. They could still smell the sweetness of the air. They could see the clouds floating above the land they loved, but there reached a point where the captured could not only not look back, they had no idea which way back might be. There was nothing in the middle of the deep blue water to indicate which way home might be, and it was that moment when a decision had to be made. Do they continue forward with a resolve to see this thing through, or do they embrace the waters and find another world? In the belly of the ship, a moan was heard. And somewhere, someone picked up the moan and a song was raised, and that song would offer comfort and hope and tell the story. When we go to Mars, it's the same thing. It's middle passage. When the rocket red glares, the astronauts will not be, the astronauts will be able to see themselves pull away from Earth. As the ship goes deeper, they will see a sparkle of blue. And then one day, not only will they not see Earth, they won't know which way to look. And that is why NASA needs to call Black America. They need to ask us, how did you calm your fears? How were you able to decide you were human even when everything said you were not? How did you find the comfort in the face of the improbable to make the world you came to your world? How was your soul able to look back and wonder? And we will tell them what to do. To successfully go to Mars and back, you will need a song. Take some Billie Holiday for the sad days and some Charlie Parker for the happy ones, but always keep at least one good spiritual for comfort. You will need a slice or two of meatloaf, and if you can manage it, some fried chicken in a shoebox with a nice moist lemon pound cake. A bottle of beer, because no one should go that far without a beer, and maybe a six-pack so that if there is life on Mars, you can share. Popcorn for the celebration when you land, while you wait on your land legs to kick in, and as you climb down the ladder from your spaceship to the Martian surface, look to your left, and there you'll see a smiling community, quilting a black-eyed pea, watching you descend. Thank you, Nikki Giovanni, for that one. And our last poet of the day is doing a tribute poem to Miss Nikki Giovanni, written by the only Terry E. Carter.
Hello, everyone. First and foremost, this is an amazing convening of the most excellent poets in the universe. And I'm just happy to be in the number. I'm the former poet laureate, now poet laureate emeritus, the inaugural poet of Medford, Massachusetts. And if you're trying to roadmap that, just think of Tufts University. That's probably our biggest claim to fame. I'm a Fiskite. I went to Fisk University, as did the president of our society, Henry L. Jones, and Nikki Giovanni as well. And I got to see Nikki on campus, and it was a life-changing moment for me as an aspiring poet. We are products of Phyllis Wheatley. We are products of Paul Laurence Dunbar. We're products of the Black Arts movement, Black Arts South movement, and we're products of the Harlem Renaissance. And so, as a tribute to Mama Nikki, I envisioned and imagined her as a product of the Harlem Renaissance. And so I hope you enjoy it. This poem is called Nikki and the New Negroes. Nikki Rosa would have been right at home in the Harlem High Time, right at home in that era, in that environment, in that epoch, in that element, in that ecosystem, on those streets, on those sidewalks, on those corners, in those alleys. She would have moved like a petite behemoth among the giants of negritude and the new order of Black pride, Black power, Black arts, Black energy, Black mythology, Black manifestation, Black only, Black unapologetically, Black truth. She would have owned her own little slice of Harlem heaven and been the rose growing persistently through the cracks on Lenox Avenue, blacktop, block, or brownstone stoop. She would have smoked it, drank it, and popped it, just for the sensation, the slight inebriation, just for the moment, and then slipped away, disaffected and undetected. Yeah, she would have been her, or they, or them, before pronouns pronounced her musings, her choosings, and her disabusings. She would have been a favorite of Langston or County and Toomer and Gus Savage and Brother Claude and Senor Arturo and Vanderzee and even that ubiquitous white boy Van Vechten. She would have had a standing invite to the Dark Tower and been a confidant of Madame Amelia, Godfather Locke, Queen Josephine, Lady Day, and Emperor Jones. She would have penned lyrics for the Count, dined with the Duke, rhymed with Cecil, rapped to Blake, scattered with Ella, slid up to Bojangles, and danced the night away to Chick Webb's Savoy Ballroom Big Band. The Renaissance would have breathed even more heavily, sighed even more heartily, laughed even more lustfully, sang even more soulfully, cried even more dolefully, and dared even more audaciously had Nikki Rosa been in the number. The new Negroes would have known her name had Nikki Rosa been in the number. The Renaissance would not have been the same had Nikki Rosa been in the number. Dedicated to the enduring memory of Yolanda Cornelia Nikki Giovanni Jr. Sunrise, June 7, 1943. Sunset, December 9th, 2024. Hallelujah, Ashe, and Amen.
Thank you so much, Terry. I want to give everybody an opportunity to unmute yourself and turn your cameras back on. You all were dynamic and amazing. So, yeah, any final comments, anything anybody wanted to say? I want to make sure that we hold space for that.
Well, I want to thank all of the poet laureates that showed up. I didn't mention I'm the poet laureate of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Similar to Rhea, we get this Tennessee connection. And as Terry just announced in his marvelous, oh my God, that poem, it was marvelous, Terry. I'm a
Yeah,
fist
it
guy.
was really good, Terry. You did
And,
good.
you know, when you are able to see such a legend and talk with them, she was approachable. And for people who have never, I've heard people ask, "Who's Nikki Giovanni?" I said, "Whoa, whoa, what are you talking about?" If you've never heard of her, or if you're listening to our event here right now, after this event, get online, look her up, read some of her poetry,
Yeah.
watch some videos, and you will see why we are here, channeling, loving, sharing her words, and just letting you know the importance of such a spirit. She lived poetry. She was And as Terry beautifully brought as a hub actually to all the words of her, if you look at the timeline of our Black poetry and the Black arts movement, and I want to throw in the Negritude movement. I did a presentation about that. That's another thing, because we had when decolonization, blah, blah, blah. That's a talk later. But she came at the right time. And as you see tonight, she's influenced so much of us. And there was something about doing a special book tribute. And I think that's something that we should seriously look into, really, because, and there are others, but tonight it's all about Nikki. And I want to thank all the poet laureates who are here for your presence, your words, and sharing, Nikki, so that people will know. Because we can't assume people know who she was, so we have to keep sharing her, okay? And as Terry did, writing about her. I just wanted to say that as the president and say how proud I am of everyone. And we have new poet laureates that have come in. So this is going to keep growing. It's going to keep growing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I may,
Okay.
yeah, my name is Joseph Woods. I perform as Black Atticus. I am the current poet laureate of Knoxville, Tennessee, Nikki's hometown. And I had the honor of meeting her the first time at my high school graduation. She was the, guest speaker. And uh, she was the first poet to blow my mind without reading a poem. She got on the stage, like she was just like some, regular person. Like she wasn't the Nikki Giovanni. Like he said, she was extremely humble, you know. And she said something to us that stuck with me. And I wrote about it as soon as I got the news of her transcending. Was real simple. She was like, as you guys move forward into your lives and you go your different directions, she said, make sure that you invest in experiences because experience is something no one can ever take from you. And you could tell she meant that from her soul. And I think out of everything going on, you got to imagine we're all we're all kind of like, oh man, big transition coming. We might not see each other again. When she said that, nothing else in the room mattered than just hearing that truth. You know what I'm saying? And Nikki just had a way with that. She had a way with that very casually. And there will not be another.
Mhm.
So it is definitely an honor to help project that and keep her work out there. And more than her work, man, but her intention. We keep that close. So absolutely. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. And it's an honor to be amongst people who understood just how valuable she was to us all. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that Kim B. Miller, Prince William County, Manassas, and Manassas Park, Virginia, Poet Laureate Emerita, currently the first and only Black Poet Laureate for that region. And if I could just talk to poets just for a second, because when we talk about humbleness, let your words be your words. When you walk in the room, let your poetry speak for you. You ain't got to put your shoulders back. You ain't got to hunch. You ain't got to strut. You ain't got to stroll. You let your words burn the mic down. That's what people remember. And sometimes we get so stuck because I get that, poetry is different, spoken word is different from singing and all that stuff. The beauty of poetry, and especially when I go to speak to students, is that your words are more important than your looks. Your words are more important than how you're dressed. Your words, your words, your words. And since we are poet laureates and the poets who are listening, get back to it being your words. There's nothing
Come
wrong
on.
looking cute and just do you. Dress whatever way you want. If you want to wear makeup, wear it. If you want to wear weave, wear it. If you want to do natural, do you. If you don't want to come in skips and sneakers, I don't care what you wear. But let your words be your words. Sometimes we've gotten kind of straight to the part of, it's the bravado. It's the spoken word versus the poets. This is not competition. Your words are not competition. There's a line in my one of my poems. Words are not owned. We all just borrow them. Poetry is rented words meant to make a permanent change. That's what we all trying to do. So let's get back to the words. Get back to the words. Because the words is what they take home. Yes, that's what they take home. You are feeding people. Let them eat. Let them eat.
Good. That's real good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. I'm Rose Weaver. I'm from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And this is my first time coming on. And I just want to let you know that each person that personified who Nikki was, what she was about, I think has so captivated the whole essence of what we are trying to convey. I got an opportunity to meet her at Berea College. And I'm thinking, oh, what is this lady gonna say? She's not the right color. We're at, this school. We're up in the mountains. The folk gonna come down, gonna get her, gonna get me, and the other people, other students. But she resonated truths and talked about things that motivated a lot of us. She spoke at a convocation. That night, the students, we stayed up to like 1 o'clock in the morning because the most important thing that she wanted to convey to us is you need to be who you are. And once you find yourself and convey who you are, then you're going to find whatever your career aspiration or whatever you be. I think she motivated a lot of us, and she was one of the instrumental persons to me to want to go to write poetry, to just express myself because it was a way that I could communicate and it was a vehicle. So I think every word that was said, each person that personified something entirely different. And I think that's what we're all about. But you are great. You all have so much of a talent, and your expressions when you say the poems just convey whatever that theme is that Nikki wanted to come out. It came out, certainly did.
Thank you so much, Rose, for being here with us.
Something I wanted to say, it goes back to what Kim was saying, and that one thing I loved about her is that she was a huge nerd. She was silly. She was geeky. She talked about Tupac on one hand and space on the other.
Yes.
This little teeny tiny person with a short fro and then, even shorter locks as time progressed. I felt like she represented a part of me that in Black culture is not always seen, because there is, we present ourselves when we go out, and there is a certain way, how our mamas told us, you act like you have some sense, like you have a sense of decorum. And she definitely had that, and she just wasn't afraid to be the biggest nerd. I mean, the poem that I read, which I hadn't read before, has the Latin name of a bat species in it. Laws of motion incorporates scientific elements. There's math, there's physics, there's all kinds of things in her writing, and she was just a big old goofball too. And she spoke of the ancestors, like we don't have to be one thing. So I think, like Miss Kim said, let the words be the words, because the words not only speak to our truth, but they'll connect us to different truths of all of us. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you all once again for attending and making this such an amazing event. Miss Khadijah, I'm so glad I got to meet you, and congratulations on being a poet laureate and joining our group. So if you are not already a member of the National Black Poet Laureate Society, please make that happen as soon as possible. We are still trying to get to 25 solid members so that we can move forward with all of our plans. So if you have not already, please do so. And for those of you who tuned in and are watching, we are back here every first Sunday, and we feature two of the amazing Black Poet Laureates from our group every month. So please tune in, like, comment, and follow us on YouTube so you can know every time we release a new video. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday, and all the love to the ancestor, Nikki Giovanni.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody have